Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a world covered in ice, where towering glaciers shaped the land and enormous creatures roamed freely. This was the reality for the first Native Americans who arrived in North America during the last ice age. They were not just explorers of a new land but survivors in a world filled with giants, animals that are now lost to time. Now, picture yourself as one of the first humans stepping onto this untamed land, surrounded by towering mountains of ice, endless plains, and dense forests teeming with creatures unlike anything we see today. The world was alive with giants, massive beasts that ruled the land, creatures so powerful and unique that their very existence feels almost mythical to us now. These early humans, the ancestors of Native Americans, were not just explorers but survivors, facing challenges beyond imagination. They migrated from distant lands, seeking food, shelter, and new opportunities in an unfamiliar world. As they journeyed through the frozen landscapes of North America, they found themselves in a land filled with wonder and danger. But this world was not theirs alone. They shared it with creatures of incredible size and strength, animals that would one day disappear forever. Mammoths as tall as houses, lions larger than any today, saber-toothed cats with teeth like daggers, and bears faster and stronger than any predator we know. These were the titans of the Ice Age, and they shaped the lives of the first Native Americans in ways we can only imagine. Tonight, we take a journey back in time, to an era where humans were not the dominant force, but merely another species fighting to survive. We will explore the incredible animals they encountered, the challenges they faced, and the mysteries that still surround this lost world. To truly understand the struggles and triumphs of the first Native Americans, we must first step into their world, a world vastly different from the one we know today. The Ice Age was a period of extreme cold, lasting for tens of thousands of years. Towering glaciers covered much of North America, stretching down from the Arctic and shaping the landscape in ways that can still be seen today. The air was bitterly cold, the winters were long and brutal, and survival required constant adaptation. The environment was not uniform. Some regions were covered in thick ice sheets, where little could grow and only the most resilient creatures could survive. Other areas, though still cold, had vast open grasslands, dense forests, and frozen tundras that supported life. These areas, known as the Mammoth Steppe, were home to a variety of Ice Age animals, ranging from colossal herbivores to powerful predators. Water sources were often frozen, and food could be scarce, making every day a battle for survival. The people of this era did not have the comforts of modern life. They had no permanent homes, no agriculture, and no domesticated animals to rely on. Instead, they were nomadic, constantly on the move, following herds of animals that provided them with food, clothing, and tools. They used fire for warmth, built shelters from bones and hides, and relied on their knowledge of the land to find resources. This unforgiving world shaped every aspect of their existence. They had to learn how to track animals across the frozen terrain, how to use every part of a kill to avoid waste, and how to protect themselves from predators that were bigger, faster, and stronger than any living today. The Ice Age was a time of immense challenges, but it was also a time of great innovation. These early Native Americans developed weapons, tools, and survival strategies that allowed them to endure in one of the harshest environments in history. But despite their resilience, life was never guaranteed. The cold was relentless, food was never certain, and at any moment, a predator could strike. It was in this dangerous and unpredictable world that they came face to face with some of the most incredible creatures ever to walk the earth, creatures that, though now extinct, left a lasting mark on human history. Long before the modern nations of the Americas existed, long before cities, farms, and civilizations, there was a time when the land was wild, untouched, and dominated by towering glaciers and Ice Age beasts. This was the world the first Native Americans entered, an unfamiliar and untamed landscape filled with both opportunity and danger. But how did they get here? The journey of these early people was one of the greatest migrations in human history. Many scientists believe that during the Ice Age, a land bridge known as Beringia connected Asia and North America. This vast stretch of land, now submerged beneath the Bering Sea, was exposed due to lower sea levels caused by the immense glaciers that locked away much of the Earth's water. This provided a path for humans, along with many large animals, to move between continents in search of new resources. These early travelers were not merely wandering aimlessly. They were skilled hunters and gatherers, constantly moving to follow their food sources. They likely came in small family groups, braving the harsh climate and unknown dangers ahead. Their lives depended on their ability to read the land, track animals, and adapt to an ever-changing environment. The journey was long and difficult, but as they moved southward, they discovered new landscapes, vast grasslands, dense forests, and massive rivers that would later become the heart of Native American civilizations. But they were not alone. As they spread across North America, they encountered animals that were completely different from anything they had seen before. Mammoths taller than houses, saber-toothed cats lurking in the shadows, and bears that could run faster than any human. These creatures had ruled this land for thousands of years, and now, for the first time, they faced a new competitor: humans. These first Native Americans had to quickly learn the behaviors of these massive beasts. Which ones could be hunted? Which ones were too dangerous to approach? How could they use the land to their advantage in both hunting and defense? They crafted weapons from stone, wood, and bone, and they developed strategies for taking down some of the largest animals on Earth. But even with their intelligence and adaptability, survival was never guaranteed. The cold was merciless, resources were limited, and every day was a test of strength and endurance. Yet, despite the hardships, they continued to push forward, shaping their future and the future of the land they had now claimed as home. When the first Native Americans arrived in North America, they stepped into a world unlike anything we can imagine today. It was a land of giants, where enormous creatures, known as megafauna, dominated the landscape. These animals were bigger, stronger, and more powerful than any wildlife we see today. For thousands of years, they had thrived in the frozen tundras, dense forests, and open grasslands of Ice Age North America. But now they had new competition: humans. These megafauna came in all shapes and sizes, from massive herbivores to fearsome predators. Some were gentle giants, like the woolly mammoth, standing over 13 feet tall and weighing up to 12,000 pounds. Others were swift and deadly, like the saber-toothed cat, with its long, curved fangs capable of piercing through thick hides. Some, like the short-faced bear, were both enormous and terrifyingly fast, capable of outrunning and overpowering most prey. The presence of these creatures shaped the way early Native Americans lived. Unlike today, where humans dominate the animal kingdom, these first settlers were just another species in a vast and dangerous ecosystem. They had to respect the balance of nature, learning which animals could be hunted and which ones had to be avoided at all costs. Herds of mammoths and mastodons roamed the grasslands, feeding on shrubs and trees. Their thick fur protected them from the cold, and their enormous tusks were used for defense and digging through snow to find food. For Native Americans, these creatures were a vital source of food, clothing, and materials for tools. But hunting them was no easy task. It required teamwork, strategy, and weapons capable of piercing thick layers of fat and fur. Meanwhile, the forests and open plains were patrolled by American lions, larger than the African lions of today. These apex predators were masters of stealth, capable of taking down prey many times their size. To the first Native Americans, these lions were a constant threat, forcing them to remain alert and develop tactics to avoid becoming prey themselves. But perhaps the most feared predator was the short-faced bear, an animal so large and powerful that even mammoths had reason to fear it. Unlike modern bears, this species had long legs, allowing it to run at incredible speeds. It could easily chase down prey or steal kills from other predators. To humans, it was an ever-present danger, one that could strike at any moment. Even the smaller predators like dire wolves played an important role in this ecosystem. These powerful pack hunters worked together to take down large prey, making them formidable competitors for food. Early Native Americans had to be wary of them, knowing that a pack of hungry dire wolves could be just as deadly as a saber-toothed cat. But not all megafauna were predators. Some, like the giant ground sloth, were slow-moving herbivores, yet they were still an impressive sight. Standing up to 10 feet tall and weighing over a ton, these creatures were unlike anything that exists today. Though they posed little direct threat to humans, their massive size made hunting them a dangerous task. This was the world that the first Native Americans entered, a land filled with towering beasts, deadly hunters, and constant challenges. Every step they took was a lesson in survival, and every encounter with these massive creatures shaped their understanding of the land. These megafauna had ruled North America for thousands of years, but with the arrival of humans, their reign was about to change forever. Among all the creatures that roamed Ice Age North America, few were as iconic and important as the woolly mammoth. These massive, elephant-like beasts were among the largest land animals of their time, standing up to 13 feet tall at the shoulders and weighing as much as 12,000 pounds. Their long, curved tusks could reach up to 15 feet in length, making them both powerful weapons and tools for survival. Covered in thick, shaggy fur and a layer of insulating fat, they were perfectly adapted to the freezing temperatures of the Ice Age. For early Native Americans, woolly mammoths were more than just another animal on the landscape, they were a source of life itself. These enormous creatures provided everything a hunter-gatherer society needed to survive. Their meat was a crucial food source, capable of feeding an entire community for weeks. Their thick hides were used to make warm clothing, tents, and even shelters, protecting people from the harsh Arctic winds. Their bones were shaped into tools, weapons, and even frames for dwellings when wood was scarce. Hunting a mammoth, however, was no small feat. These were not slow, lumbering creatures, but intelligent and social animals that lived in herds, much like modern elephants. They protected their young, communicated with each other, and had strong memories, qualities that made them both fascinating and challenging to hunt. Early Native Americans had to rely on teamwork, strategy, and well-crafted weapons to bring down these massive beasts. Spears tipped with stone points, known as Clovis points, were among the most effective weapons used against mammoths. These razor-sharp tools were designed to penetrate thick hide and muscle, striking vital organs. But even with such weapons, hunting a mammoth required patience and skill. Hunters would often target the weaker members of a herd, older animals, the sick, or those that became separated from the group. Some hunting techniques involved driving a mammoth into a pit or toward a natural barrier, like a cliff, where it could be more easily killed. However, hunting a mammoth was not without risks. A single swipe from a mammoth's tusk or a sudden charge could kill a human instantly. These animals were not defenseless prey. They were strong, determined survivors of the Ice Age. One wrong move could mean disaster for an entire hunting party. Beyond their practical uses, mammoths held deep spiritual and cultural significance for early Native Americans. Some tribes saw them as sacred creatures, representing strength, endurance, and survival. Cave paintings and carvings found across North America suggest that mammoths played an important role in the beliefs and traditions of Ice Age people. Their bones and tusks were sometimes arranged in ceremonial ways, and their images were etched into stone, preserving their memory long after they had disappeared from the earth. But despite their dominance for thousands of years, the age of the mammoth was coming to an end. Their numbers began to dwindle, and soon, these giants, so crucial to the survival of early Native Americans, would become part of history, leaving behind only their bones and legends. Among the many terrifying predators that roamed Ice Age North America, none were as fearsome as the saber-toothed cats, particularly Smilodon fatalis. These apex predators were unlike any big cats alive today, with their most distinctive feature being their massive, curved canine teeth, which could grow up to 11 inches long. These dagger-like fangs were their primary weapons, capable of delivering fatal bites to large prey. However, these teeth were also fragile and not meant for biting into bone like a modern lion or tiger would. Instead, saber-toothed cats relied on precision, targeting soft areas like the throat or belly to bring down their prey swiftly. These cats were built for ambush hunting. Unlike modern big cats, which are built for speed, Smilodon had a stockier, more muscular build. Its front legs were incredibly powerful, allowing it to wrestle large animals to the ground before delivering a devastating bite. Unlike a cheetah or a lion that chases prey over long distances, the saber-toothed cat was designed to hide, wait, and strike at the perfect moment. This made it an incredibly dangerous predator, both to the megafauna it hunted and to early Native Americans who shared the land with it. For the first Native Americans, encountering a saber-toothed cat would have been a terrifying experience. Unlike wolves, which hunted in packs and had predictable behaviors, Smilodon was a solitary predator, lurking in the shadows, waiting to attack with overwhelming force. It may have stalked its prey through forests or ambushed them near watering holes, striking with incredible speed and power. These cats were not just limited to hunting large herbivores like mammoths and bison. They may have also seen humans as potential prey, especially if they were alone or injured. Surviving in a world with Smilodon meant developing strategies to avoid them. Early Native Americans likely learned to recognize their hunting patterns, avoiding dense vegetation where these cats could hide. Fire may have been used as a deterrent, and weapons like spears and bows would have been crucial in defending against an unexpected attack. However, even the most skilled hunters would have struggled against such a powerful predator. Despite their incredible hunting abilities, saber-toothed cats faced challenges as the Ice Age came to an end. As large prey like mammoths and bison became scarce, these specialized hunters found it harder to survive. Their large teeth, once an advantage, became a weakness. They were built for hunting megafauna, and as those animals disappeared, so did the saber-toothed cats. The extinction of Smilodon marked the end of one of the most iconic predators in history. Yet, their legacy remains in fossils, cave paintings, and the myths passed down by early Native Americans who once lived in constant awareness of these deadly hunters. Among all the predators that roamed Ice Age North America, few were as terrifying as the short-faced bear, Arctodus simus. This enormous beast was not just the largest bear species of its time, it was one of the most powerful land predators to ever exist. Towering over modern bears, it could reach up to 12 feet tall when standing on its hind legs and weigh over 2,000 pounds. Unlike modern grizzly bears, which are bulky and slower, the short-faced bear had long limbs that gave it surprising speed, allowing it to chase down prey over great distances. For early Native Americans, encountering a short-faced bear would have been a terrifying experience. Unlike many Ice Age predators that hunted in packs or ambushed their prey, the short-faced bear relied on raw strength and intimidation. It had an incredibly powerful bite, capable of crushing bones with ease. Its keen sense of smell allowed it to track prey from miles away, and its long limbs gave it the ability to run at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour, making escape nearly impossible. This bear was not a shy creature that avoided humans. Instead, it was likely an aggressive scavenger and opportunistic hunter, meaning it had no fear of stealing kills from other predators, including humans. If a group of Native American hunters managed to take down a mammoth or bison, the short-faced bear could easily smell the kill and arrive to claim it as its own. Unlike wolves or saber-toothed cats, which might be scared off by fire or loud noises, this bear would not back down. In many cases, the only option was to abandon the kill and flee, as fighting such a massive predator would have been nearly impossible. The short-faced bear's size also meant that it had a massive range. Unlike modern bears, which tend to stay in forests or near rivers, this predator roamed across open plains, woodlands, and tundras, covering vast distances in search of food. This made it an ever-present danger to early Native Americans, who had to constantly stay alert while traveling through these regions. One of the most terrifying aspects of this bear was its ability to stand upright. While modern bears also stand on their hind legs to look around, the short-faced bear could do so with far greater ease, using its long legs to intimidate rivals and survey its surroundings. Imagine being a small group of early humans armed only with spears and bows, watching as a 12-foot-tall bear loomed over them, deciding whether to attack. It must have been a truly horrifying sight. Despite its immense power, the short-faced bear eventually met its end. As the Ice Age drew to a close and many large herbivores began to disappear, the short-faced bear struggled to find enough food to sustain its massive body. Unlike smaller bears, which could survive on berries, fish, and small animals, Arcticus emus was highly dependent on large game, and when those food sources dwindled, so did the bear. For early Native Americans, the disappearance of this predator may have been a relief. No longer would they have to fear losing their hard-earned kills to a bear larger and stronger than anything alive today. But while the short-faced bear may be extinct, its fossils and the stories passed down through generations serve as a reminder that early humans lived in a world where they were not the top predators, where at any moment, a giant, bone-crushing bear could appear and claim its place at the top of the food chain. When people think of lions, they often imagine the African savannas, where prides of powerful cats stalk zebras and wildebeests. But during the Ice Age, North America was home to an even larger and more fearsome predator, the American lion, Panthera atrox. These magnificent beasts were not just bigger than modern lions. They were the largest cats to have ever lived, standing nearly 4 feet tall at the shoulder and stretching over 12 feet in length, making them longer than a modern tiger. Some American lions may have weighed up to 1,000 pounds, dwarfing even today's biggest African lions. For the first Native Americans, encountering an American lion would have been a terrifying experience. Unlike saber-toothed cats, which were built for ambush attacks, American lions were incredibly fast and powerful pursuit predators, capable of running down large prey across the open plains. Their muscular build, combined with razor-sharp claws and powerful jaws, made them one of the most formidable predators of the Ice Age. They were expert hunters, capable of taking down large animals like bison, horses, and even young mammoths. Despite their immense size, American lions were likely stealthy and highly intelligent. They may have hunted alone or in small groups, using their surroundings to sneak up on prey before launching a devastating attack. Unlike saber-toothed cats, which relied on their oversized fangs, American lions had a bite force stronger than any modern big cat, allowing them to crush bones and tear through flesh with ease. For early Native Americans, the American lion posed a serious threat. Unlike mammoths or giant ground sloths, which could be hunted in groups using strategy and weapons, a lion was an unpredictable and deadly predator. It could strike at any time, attacking hunters who strayed too far from their groups or stalking camps in search of food. Unlike wolves, which howled and revealed their presence, American lions were likely silent hunters, striking without warning. A single lion could kill a human in seconds, and even a group of armed hunters would struggle to fend off an attack. To survive in a world where American lions roamed, early Native Americans had to develop advanced hunting and defensive strategies. Fire may have been a crucial tool in keeping these massive cats at bay, as many modern big cats avoid flames. Early humans likely built their camps near water sources, but avoided areas where lions were known to hunt. In some cases, they may have scavenged kills from American lions, just as modern hyenas steal food from African lions. However, this was a dangerous gamble. If an American lion returned to its kill, it would have defended its meal with deadly force. Despite their dominance as top predators, American lions eventually disappeared along with much of the Ice Age megafauna. As the climate warmed and large prey like mammoths and bison became scarce, these massive cats struggled to find enough food. Unlike smaller felines, which could adapt to hunting smaller prey, the American lion was built for taking down giant animals, and as those creatures vanished, so did the lions. For early Native Americans, the disappearance of the American lion may have been both a relief and a loss. No longer would they have to fear being hunted by the largest cat to ever walk the earth. Yet, at the same time, the American lion had been a part of their world, one of the great predators that shaped their lives, their stories, and their survival. Wolves have long captured the human imagination, appearing in myths, folklore, and stories across cultures. But during the Ice Age, North America was home to a species of wolf far more powerful and fearsome than any alive today, the dire wolf, Canis dirus. These legendary predators were larger, stronger, and more dangerous than modern gray wolves, making them a dominant force in the ecosystems of Ice Age America. Unlike the wolves we know today, dire wolves were built for strength rather than speed. They weighed up to 200 pounds, significantly larger than a modern gray wolf, and their jaws were far more powerful, allowing them to crush bones and tear through thick hides. Their limbs were shorter and sturdier, making them excellent endurance hunters capable of bringing down massive prey like bison, young mammoths, and even horses. Unlike saber-toothed cats, which relied on ambush hunting, dire wolves were persistence hunters, meaning they chased their prey over long distances, wearing it down until it could no longer run. For early Native Americans, dire wolves were both a threat and a competitor. Unlike big cats, which often hunted alone, dire wolves were pack hunters, meaning they worked together to take down prey. A pack of these massive wolves would have been a terrifying sight, moving in unison, communicating through howls and body language, and coordinating their attacks with deadly efficiency. To Ice Age humans, this made them dangerous rivals for food. Dire wolves likely scavenged from human hunting kills, just as modern wolves and hyenas steal from large predators today. Early Native Americans had to be cautious, knowing that a pack of dire wolves could quickly overwhelm them if they were outnumbered or caught off guard. Fire may have been one of the few defenses against these relentless hunters, as wolves generally fear flames and bright light. However, dire wolves were not just threats. They may have also been one of the first animals to interact with early humans in a way that shaped the future of both species. Some researchers believe that while dire wolves were too aggressive to be domesticated, early Native Americans may have encountered smaller, less aggressive wolves that eventually became the ancestors of modern domestic dogs. This means that while dire wolves vanished, their distant relatives continued to play a role in human societies. Despite their dominance during the Ice Age, dire wolves eventually went extinct around 10,000 years ago. The reasons for their disappearance are still debated, but one major factor was the decline of large prey species like mammoths, bison, and giant ground sloths. Unlike gray wolves, which could adapt to hunting smaller animals, dire wolves were highly specialized hunters that depended on megafauna. As the Ice Age ended and the environment changed, their food sources vanished, leaving them with little chance of survival. For early Native Americans, the disappearance of dire wolves may have been both a relief and a sign of the changing world. These powerful hunters had been part of their reality for generations, sometimes as threats, sometimes as competitors, and possibly even as inspiration for the future relationship between humans and wolves. Even though dire wolves are gone, their legacy lives on in the myths, stories, and fossils that remind us of a time when humans were not the only great hunters of North America. When people think of Ice Age animals, they often imagine fierce predators like saber-toothed cats or towering mammoths. However, one of the most unusual and fascinating creatures of this prehistoric world was the giant ground sloth, Megatherium, and other related species. Unlike the slow-moving, tree-dwelling sloths of today, these ancient giants were massive, powerful, and surprisingly formidable. Some species could grow over 20 feet long and weigh more than 4,000 pounds, making them one of the largest land mammals of their time. For the first Native Americans, encountering a giant ground sloth would have been both an awe-inspiring and intimidating experience. These creatures were not predators, but their sheer size and strength meant they were not easy prey either. They had thick skin covered in coarse fur, providing protection from the cold, and massive curved claws that could reach up to a foot in length. While these claws were primarily used to strip leaves from trees and dig into the ground for roots, they were also formidable weapons against any predator, or human, that got too close. Unlike other large herbivores of the Ice Age, such as mammoths and bison, giant ground sloths moved in a slow, deliberate manner. Their powerful hind legs allowed them to stand on 2 feet, reaching high into the trees to feed on leaves and branches that other herbivores couldn't access. Some species had long, prehensile tongues, similar to modern giraffes, allowing them to grasp and pull down vegetation. Despite their slow pace, they were surprisingly well adapted for survival in a world filled with dangerous predators. For early Native Americans, giant ground sloths would have been both a potential source of food and a challenge to hunt. Unlike mammoths, which moved in herds, sloths were likely solitary creatures, making them harder to track. Their tough hides and massive size meant that even with spears and other early hunting weapons, bringing one down was an enormous task. Some researchers believe that early humans may have used traps or ambush techniques, waiting until a sloth was vulnerable before launching an attack. Evidence from fossils suggests that humans may have hunted them by driving them into swamps or enclosed areas, where they could be more easily speared. Interestingly, giant ground sloths left behind more than just bones. They may have also left behind some of the earliest signs of human interaction with large animals. In some caves in North and South America, ancient footprints of humans and giant ground sloths have been found together, suggesting that early people may have stalked, observed, or even attempted to herd these massive creatures. Some caves even contain sloth bones arranged in ways that suggest early humans used them for shelter or religious purposes. Despite their size and strength, the giant ground sloths eventually disappeared, along with much of the other Ice Age megafauna. Climate change, habitat loss, and increasing hunting pressure from humans all contributed to their extinction. Unlike mammoths, which survived in isolated regions for thousands of years, ground sloths disappeared completely from North America, leaving behind only fossils and ancient stories. For early Native Americans, the loss of the giant ground sloth marked the end of an era. These towering herbivores, once a common sight across forests and grasslands, vanished from the landscape. Yet, their legacy lived on in the oral traditions of many native cultures, where they were remembered as powerful, mysterious beasts, a reminder of a time when the world was wilder and humans were not the only giants walking the earth. When people think of mammoths, the first image that often comes to mind is the woolly mammoth, a shaggy, ice-covered giant roaming the tundra. However, during the Ice Age, another species of mammoth dominated the warmer regions of North America, the Columbian mammoth, Mammothus columbi. These colossal creatures were even larger than their woolly cousins, standing up to 14 feet tall at the shoulders and weighing as much as 22,000 pounds, nearly twice the size of an African elephant. They were among the biggest land mammals to ever walk the continent, and for early Native Americans, they were both a crucial source of survival and a formidable challenge. Unlike woolly mammoths, which thrived in the frigid conditions of the northern tundra, Columbian mammoths preferred the warmer, open grasslands and savannas of what is now the United States and Mexico. Their massive, curved tusks, some stretching over 16 feet long, were not only weapons for defense but also tools for digging up vegetation and stripping bark from trees. Despite their enormous size, Columbian mammoths were herbivores, grazing on a diet of grasses, shrubs, and tree leaves. A single adult could consume up to 700 pounds of food per day, making them a dominant force in their environment. For early Native Americans, Columbian mammoths were both a source of life and a test of survival. These creatures provided meat, bones, hides, and tools, everything needed for a thriving community. But hunting a mammoth was no small task. These were intelligent, social animals, much like modern elephants, living in herds led by wise matriarchs who protected their young and worked together to fend off threats. A wounded or cornered mammoth could become incredibly aggressive, using its powerful trunk and deadly tusks to crush or impale anything in its way. Hunting strategies for Columbian mammoths likely involved coordinated efforts by large groups of people. Early Native Americans developed specialized weapons like clovis points, razor-sharp spearheads designed to pierce through thick hide and muscle. Hunters may have used fire, natural barriers, or traps to isolate a single mammoth from its herd, increasing their chances of a successful kill. Fossil evidence shows that mammoth kill sites were often used for weeks or even months, as a single mammoth could feed an entire community. Beyond their practical uses, Columbian mammoths also held spiritual and cultural significance for early Native Americans. Their massive bones were sometimes arranged in ceremonial ways, and their images appeared in ancient petroglyphs and carvings, suggesting that these creatures played a role in mythology and storytelling. Some tribes may have passed down legends of great beasts that once roamed the land, preserving the memory of mammoths long after they disappeared. Despite their incredible size and dominance, Columbian mammoths, like many other Ice Age giants, eventually vanished. As the climate warmed and their grassland habitats shrank, their numbers dwindled. At the same time, increased hunting pressure from humans may have contributed to their decline. By around 10,000 years ago, these giants, once the rulers of North America's landscapes, were gone, leaving behind only fossilized remains and the echoes of their once mighty presence. Among the lesser-known giants of the Ice Age, the stag moose, Cervus scotti, was one of the most impressive. Though its name suggests a mix between a stag and a moose, this prehistoric giant was unlike any living animal today. It had the body of a moose, but with longer legs, making it taller and more agile. Its massive, sprawling antlers, which could span up to 8 feet across, were more similar in shape to those of an elk rather than the rounded, paddle-like antlers of a modern moose. Weighing up to 1,500 pounds and standing over 7 feet tall at the shoulder, the stag moose was a powerful presence in the wetlands and forests of Ice Age North America. For early Native Americans, encountering a stag moose would have been a remarkable sight. Unlike mammoths or saber-toothed cats, which were widely known and feared, the stag moose occupied a more mysterious niche in the prehistoric world. It thrived in wetlands, marshes, and wooded areas, places that early humans depended on for fresh water and hunting. However, this meant that humans and stag moose often crossed paths, leading to both opportunities and dangers. The stag moose was a herbivore, feeding on aquatic plants, shrubs, and tree bark, much like modern moose. But unlike today's moose, which are often solitary, the stag moose may have lived in small family groups, offering some protection against predators. Despite being a plant eater, it was not defenseless. With its massive size, long, muscular legs, and razor-sharp hooves, a stag moose could deliver devastating kicks capable of shattering the bones of an attacking predator or an unwary hunter. Additionally, its massive antlers weren't just for show. They were used in combat, whether against rivals during the mating season or as a last defense against large predators like American lions, dire wolves, and short-faced bears. For early Native Americans, the stag moose was likely a valuable but challenging target. Unlike bison or mammoths, which roamed in herds, stag moose were more elusive, often hiding in dense forests or swampy areas where they were harder to track. Hunting one required patience, skill, and strategy. Hunters may have used spears tipped with Clovis points, trying to ambush the animal in a way that prevented it from fleeing into the thick vegetation. If a stag moose was cornered, it could fight back fiercely, making it a dangerous opponent even for experienced hunters. The rewards of a successful stag moose hunt, however, were immense. Its large body provided hundreds of pounds of meat, which could sustain an entire group for weeks. Its hide was thick and durable, ideal for making clothing, shelter coverings, and tools. Even its antlers and bones could be shaped into weapons, tools, and ceremonial objects. Because of this, the stag moose may have been deeply respected by early humans, not just as prey, but as a symbol of strength and survival. Despite its adaptability, the stag moose eventually disappeared. As the Ice Age ended and the climate warmed, wetlands and marshy forests began to shrink, forcing the stag moose into smaller and more fragmented habitats. At the same time, the increasing presence of human hunters may have placed additional pressure on its populations. By around 10,000 years ago, the once mighty stag moose was gone, leaving behind only fossils and traces of its existence in ancient human cultures. Among all the fearsome predators that roamed Ice Age North America, few were as truly terrifying as the short-faced bear, Arctodus simus. This colossal bear was one of the largest terrestrial carnivores to have ever lived, towering over any human or animal that dared to cross its path. Unlike modern bears, which are bulky and stocky, the short-faced bear had long limbs and a lean, muscular body, allowing it to cover vast distances at incredible speeds. It was not just a scavenger, but a highly efficient predator, capable of overpowering almost any prey it encountered. Standing on all fours, the short-faced bear was already an imposing figure at around 5 feet tall at the shoulder. But when it reared up on its hind legs, it could reach a staggering 12 feet in height, making it the tallest bear species to have ever existed. Weighing between 1,800 and 2,500 pounds, it was heavier than any modern grizzly or polar bear. Its powerful limbs and massive claws made it an apex predator, and its bite force was among the strongest of any mammal, capable of crushing bones with ease. For early Native Americans, the short-faced bear was likely one of the most dangerous creatures they ever encountered. Unlike other Ice Age predators such as dire wolves or saber-toothed cats, which often hunted in packs or ambushed prey, the short-faced bear was a solitary giant, capable of covering up to 50 miles in a single day in search of food. Its long legs and slender build suggest that it was built for speed, making it far faster than modern bears. This meant that if it set its sights on prey, or even a human, it could outrun, outfight, and overpower almost anything in its path. Unlike today's omnivorous bears, which rely on a mixed diet of plants and meat, the short-faced bear was likely a hypercarnivore, meaning it ate mostly meat. Fossil evidence suggests that it may have been an opportunistic scavenger, using its size and strength to drive away other predators from their kills. A pack of dire wolves, or even a saber-toothed cat, wouldn't stand a chance against a fully grown short-faced bear. It could simply walk up to a fresh carcass, let out a deafening roar, and claim the meal for itself. However, the short-faced bear was also likely an active hunter, capable of taking down large Ice Age herbivores like horses, camels, and even bison. Some scientists believe that its long legs and lean body allowed it to sprint in short bursts, ambushing prey before delivering a devastating bite. With claws over 4 inches long, it could grapple struggling prey with ease, preventing escape. For early Native Americans, encountering a short-faced bear would have been an incredibly dangerous situation. Unlike mammoths or giant ground sloths, which could be hunted using teamwork and weapons, a short-faced bear was an unpredictable and aggressive predator. Its ability to run at high speeds, climb, and overpower almost anything meant that avoiding it was often the only safe option. Some groups may have relied on fire to deter these massive bears from their camps, but even that may not have been enough to stop a determined short-faced bear from attacking. Despite their incredible strength and dominance, short-faced bears eventually disappeared as the Ice Age came to an end. As large prey species like mammoths, camels, and giant sloths declined, these massive bears struggled to find enough food to sustain their enormous size. They also faced competition from humans, who were skilled hunters and had the advantage of weapons and strategy. Over time, the short-faced bear's numbers dwindled, and by around 11,000 years ago, it had vanished from North America, leaving behind only fossils and the echoes of its once mighty presence in the wild. During the Ice Age, the landscapes of North America were ruled by a predator even larger than the African lions of today, the American lion, Panthera atrox. This magnificent cat was one of the largest big cats to have ever lived, and for early Native Americans, encountering one would have been a moment of awe, fear, and extreme danger. With a body built for power and speed, the American lion was at the very top of the food chain, competing with other apex predators like saber-toothed cats, dire wolves, and short-faced bears. Despite its name, the American lion was not exactly the same as modern lions. It was significantly larger, with some individuals reaching over 4 feet at the shoulder and measuring up to 12 feet in length from nose to tail. Some of the biggest specimens may have weighed up to 1,200 pounds, making them the heaviest lions to have ever existed. This incredible size gave them a powerful advantage over their prey, allowing them to take down massive Ice Age herbivores, including bison, young mammoths, horses, and even camels. Unlike the thick-furred saber-toothed cat, which relied on ambush tactics, the American lion was built for both strength and endurance. Its long, muscular legs suggest that it was an excellent runner, capable of chasing prey over open grasslands. However, it was also incredibly stealthy. Fossil evidence suggests that American lions preferred wooded areas, caves, and rocky outcrops, where they could hide before launching a deadly attack. They were likely silent stalkers, waiting for the perfect moment to strike before pouncing with explosive power. For early Native Americans, the American lion was both a competitor and a deadly threat. These massive cats likely hunted the same prey that humans relied on for survival: bison, deer, and horses. This meant that a successful hunt could quickly turn into a life-or-death struggle if an American lion arrived to claim the kill. Unlike dire wolves, which hunted in packs and could be scared off by fire or loud noises, an American lion was a solitary predator, confident in its strength and dominance. If one approached a human hunting party, it wasn't just looking to steal food, it was considering whether to attack. Evidence from ancient fossil sites suggests that American lions may have even hunted early humans. Some prehistoric cave paintings depict large, lion-like creatures watching human groups from the shadows, a chilling reminder that these predators were always nearby, always watching. Early Native Americans had to be constantly aware of their surroundings, knowing that a lion's golden eyes might be glowing in the darkness, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Despite their size and power, American lions eventually vanished from North America. Their decline was likely caused by a combination of climate change, loss of prey, and competition with humans. As the Ice Age ended and large herbivores became scarcer, these massive cats struggled to find enough food. At the same time, human hunters became more skilled, and their presence may have made survival even more difficult for these once dominant predators. By around 10,000 years ago, the American lion, once the undisputed king of North America's wilderness, had disappeared, leaving behind only fossils and ancient stories of the great beast that once prowled the land. The dire wolf, Canis dirus, is one of the most legendary predators of the Ice Age, often romanticized in pop culture. But unlike its mythical counterparts, the real dire wolf was not a creature of fantasy. It was a powerful, highly intelligent predator that once roamed North and South America. It was a close relative of modern gray wolves, yet it was larger, more robust, and better adapted for hunting the massive herbivores of the Ice Age. For early Native Americans, encountering a pack of dire wolves was a test of survival, strategy, and respect for nature's deadliest pack hunters. Unlike today's wolves, which are built for speed and endurance, dire wolves were designed for raw strength and power. They stood about 2.5 feet tall at the shoulder, but they were much stockier than their modern cousins, weighing up to 175 pounds or more, significantly heavier than even the largest gray wolves today. Their skulls were broader, their jaws were stronger, and their teeth were incredibly powerful, capable of crushing bone with ease. These traits made dire wolves not just efficient hunters, but also dominant scavengers, able to compete with saber-toothed cats, short-faced bears, and even American lions for access to fresh kills. One of the dire wolf's greatest strengths was its social structure. Unlike solitary predators like saber-toothed cats, dire wolves hunted in packs, relying on teamwork to take down massive prey. Their primary targets were large Ice Age herbivores, including horses, bison, camels, and even young mammoths. These massive animals were too dangerous for a single predator to bring down, but a coordinated pack attack allowed the wolves to surround, exhaust, and overpower their prey. Fossil evidence from sites like the La Brea tar pits in California has revealed entire packs of dire wolves trapped together, suggesting that they not only hunted as a unit but also stuck together even in the face of danger. For early Native Americans, dire wolves were both rivals and threats. These powerful predators hunted the same prey as human groups, meaning that there was constant competition for food. If humans successfully killed a bison or a horse, a hungry pack of dire wolves could smell the carcass from miles away and arrive to challenge them for it. Unlike bears, which could often be scared off by fire, dire wolves had the advantage of numbers. A single wolf might be cautious around humans, but an entire pack, driven by hunger, was bold enough to attack even armed hunters. Despite their fearsome nature, dire wolves may have inspired admiration among early Native Americans. Wolves, in general, have held an important place in many indigenous cultures as symbols of strength, loyalty, and survival. The dire wolf, being larger and even more powerful than today's wolves, might have been a creature of legend, inspiring stories passed down through generations. Some cave paintings and petroglyphs suggest that early humans closely observed these predators, either out of fear, respect, or perhaps even an early attempt to understand and mimic their hunting strategies. Despite their dominance, dire wolves eventually disappeared. As the Ice Age ended, the large prey species they depended on began to vanish. At the same time, smaller, faster, and more adaptable gray wolves expanded into their territories. Gray wolves were better suited for hunting the smaller game that became more common in the changing environment. Humans, too, played a role in the dire wolf's decline, as their improved weapons and hunting techniques made them more effective competitors in the struggle for survival. By around 9,500 years ago, the mighty dire wolf, which had ruled the Americas for hundreds of thousands of years, was gone, leaving behind only fossils, legends, and the distant echoes of its howls in the Ice Age wilderness.